I'm David Griffin. It's the 7th of November 2018. I'm here at Derbyshire County Cricket Club watching it rain at the moment, and we've got a couple of gentlemen who've watched plenty of cricket but also plenty of rain, I suspect, over the years. David Smith and Paul Whittaker are going to have a little chat together about their cricketing lives.
Yeah, well, we all know about weather interruptions in cricket, how much it affects us, but it doesn't always bring us off the ground. I can remember years ago when I was probably about 15 or so, playing in a pre-season friendly at the end of April at Blackwell, famous ground for the world record ninth wicket stand for Derbyshire, and it was quite a cold day, and bowling was opened at the other end, and I was throwing the ball to open the bowling from the other end, and paced my run up out, and it started to snow. But we kept on playing, so I bowled 3 or 4 overs into the blizzard. First and probably only time I bowled in 3 jumpers.
How did you get your arms turned over?
Well, I was probably my normal gentle medium pace became real dobbers by the time they reached the other end. I can't remember very much about the match, whether I got any wickets or not, who won the game. The only other thing I can really remember is there was no pavilion on the ground, and at tea we had to clatter down the street in our spikes to the miners' welfare for tea. And I found we were made really welcome in the welfare. Not necessarily so much on the field, but once the game was
I might have a similar story from there, because in the days of you could convince an umpire that you shouldn't be playing because of bad light or rain, I persuaded the umpires about 3 times at Blackwell that we ought to go off for bad light. The players were all welcome into the miners' welfare, apart from me. When they pointed to me, he's not welcome in here. So I wasn't allowed in. My first cheating in cricket.
That's not cheating.
Using manipulating the rules.
Yeah. If you can't see the ball.
So snow. Do you remember Buxton?
That was the year one of the years I was at college, and so I was away that week. It was just before the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yes, it would be. Yes, first one. Yes. I was stuck on Derby Station that morning, going back to Leicester, and I can remember the snow turning down in the first few days of June. That's having been to the game at Buxton on the Saturday, where Lancashire scored about 480 on a hot, sunny day. And back we go again to snow.
Yeah, I've talked to Bud Hill about that, and told me how dangerous the pitch was, and balls flying all over the place, and Harry Cartwright gave his false teeth to the umpire.
Yeah. Or might have not been him.
Ashley Harvey Walker.
Harry's still alive, and I'm sure he wouldn't want to hear you.
Yes, he asked them to look after them for it. Won't be long, because I won't be out here for long. Something like that.
I played cricket at Bell Parameters, which is on the top of a hill overlooking Crouch Stand, and there you used to get some bleak days, especially if you fielded a fine leg at both ends.
Yeah.
Bet you've done that.
Yeah, when you're not bowled very well, you get fine leg both ends. Yeah, you mentioned Belper then. Somebody told me that you've got a connection somehow with Belper Meadows and the Demon Bowler, Fred Spofford.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure you didn't play against him. You don't look as though you're played against Fred.
Good. I think almost certainly, 99% certain, it's my grandfather that kept wicket to him at Belper. He was very much the star of the day. There's W.G. Great on England's side, and the big Australian hero before Victor Trumper arrived would have been Fred Spofford, who ultimately married a Derby girl, played for Derbyshire, but we weren't allowed to play first-class fixtures with him in it. Took a lot of wickets because he was still at only about mid-30s, and he was still very much a star. Probably the most famous of his era to play for Derbyshire. We're not sure whether he broke my grandfather's nose, because wicketkeepers before pre-helmets used to stand up behind the stumps. But
Taking the sign of weakness to stand back.
Spofford was quite well known because he was an intelligent guy, apparently. I've well read on him. He sorted out, there's a first Derbyshire captain was a guy called Samuel Richardson, who was the secretary. Subsequently, it's absconded with the funds of the county, and did the same to Derby County as well, where he was also in a position of power. He eventually hot-footed it off to Spain, and don't know what it was ever heard of him subsequently. But there's a bit of family history. His brother was Derbyshire's scorer for 19 years on an honorary basis. He retired 1969. T.G. Ryde was his name, better known as T.G. to everybody. And after the 69 Gillette final in his 80s, he thought it might be the time to hang up my scoring books.
Yes, yeah. He would have been scoring when I first started.
Yes, it was with me, because I used to have to go occasionally into score boxes with people like Jim Sims and Andy Sandham, who made 300 in a test match once for England in the West Indies.
So was Andy Sandham Surrey's?
He was right. Jim Sims was Middlesex's, but they were both cussed, and if you didn't speak during the hours of play, which for a 10 or 11-year-old might have been quite difficult.
Yes, I presume then they were still scoring in the old dotting these.
No, they were, yes. No computers,
6
no
dots
laptops.
for each ball.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, everything relied on them.
Yes, but I always find it very easy to miss putting a dot or a mark somewhere when you score those books. There all seem to be so many different places you have to put your marks.
What happens if they're both distracted at some stage?
Yes. It must be so much simpler these days with doing it all by computer.
You've got an optoman sat there with you, and you've also got somebody, hate to say it, videoing it as well,
Yes,
so you can go back and find out what you've missed.
David and Paul, you both watch a lot of cricket, both in Derbyshire but also away from Derbyshire. Can you perhaps just give us some of your favourite memories or just favourite grounds, the places you'd best like to go to and why?
I think home grounds, I think Chesterfield must be the one that I really like.
Yes, yes.
It has a certain atmosphere. It's like being at an away game when you're at home, because we don't play there very often these days as well, it being such a lovely setting, although now spoilt by the trees growing up so you can't see the spire.
In this day and age, why can't they cut trees down? But it would be nice to be able to see that again.
It would be nice to just be able to lock the trees so you got that view of the crooked spire again. Away grounds that I've been to, I really like Cheltenham College. I think that's a beautiful ground.
Yes.
Lovely with the building, the school building all along one side, and also helped by the array of beer tents selling some good quality beer.
I'm becoming a regular of that. I went last season, it was apparently the biggest first day championship crowd of the season at Cheltenham, so yes, it is popular. We love festivals. That's how if we're only down to 7 championship home games, that there's and the one-day cup, that with a bit of luck perhaps they might find the out venues a bit more readily.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this next season, because we've got the World Cup here, which will be taking some of the big grounds out for championship matches, we might get a few more games at out grounds. Yes,
we love Colwyn Bay and Southport. Can we play all our away games, Derbyshire away games, on those grounds, please?
I like Liverpool.
Never been.
I've never been, which is why I would like us to play Lancashire at Liverpool.
Yes, quite, yes. I love Worcester. You might have to sit in the right place, and one day I'm sure they'll take the scaffolding down on the church there, on the cathedral. But that's a beautiful view, and there's some lovely walks around there when you get fed up of watching the cricket and wander down the river.
Yes, I thought that of Worcester. You've got to sit in the right spot to get the really good view.
Wife and I looked at a cottage down by the river there to buy, and that was the summer before the worst ever winter that they actually ever had. And when we went back the next year, you could see the tide marks, which were above the height of the cottage. So it might have been a good move not to.
It sounds like you made a good move not to buy that.
Yes.
Any other grounds that you particularly like going to?
I've never been to the Rose Bowl.
No, I haven't. I don't have any great desire to go there. The,
Southampton, yeah, yes,
yeah,
yes.
from what I've been told, it's not a particularly nice ground, and being well out of the city, it's a bit isolated.
Looking from just to avoid in the future concrete jungles.
Yes.
There is a Midlands ground in the middle of the country that might.
Yes, yeah,
fall
I
into
don't
that
like
category.
these big stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Going to a ground where you've only got a few hundred or maybe 1,000 people in there, and
Yes, it's
everything
empty.
echoes around
Yes,
it.
yeah, including the players.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, other grounds. Would you like to play on other Derbyshire grounds? Which grounds, if you would they be?
I don't know, I quite liked Leek when we went there
Yes.
a few years ago and played a couple of games there. I do remember us playing a Sunday game at Derby Dale.
Oh yes. The Hampshire won the title there.
Hampshire, yes, we were televised.
It's early 70s, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What about Ilkeston?
I don't know whether that ground. I've played on that ground. I remember they're chasing the ball to the boundary to field it, and picking it up. I'm thinking, can I throw it that far? It just seems such a long way.
Yeah.
We must have been playing over towards one side of the square, but it was so much bigger than the normal sort of club ground that we used to play on.
It was a bit of a natural amphitheatre because it's built in a bit of a bowl.
Yes.
It's a bit. I understand. Obviously, council would have to outlay a fair bit of cash to ever get us back there, but
Yeah, I think that's the problem with outgrounds these days. It's the expense of getting everything there and all the facilities that we're being asked
yes.
to provide. But it would be nice to be able to travel to some of these other grounds. And I quite like the ground at Belper now on Belper Meadows.
Yes,
For
yes.
the second 11 game last year, it was quite an attractive looking ground.
I think I used to chase the ball around when Fred Swarbrick used to hit it because he being a Duffield lad, me being a Belper lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he obviously used to appear there quite a lot actually. Yes, he was good at that age as well.
Yes, great loss, Fred. I liked Fred when he was a player. It's a pity that he ended up getting such a problem with his bowling.
On the subject of losses, obviously, the last Derbyshire cricketer to pass away was Chris Wilkins. And I think one of my few cricketing moments was I actually bowled him in the nets with one that sort of drifted away a bit and then turned back again. I don't think I could ever find that ball again, and I'm sure he was surprised as well.
Yeah. Well, the title there for your autobiography when you
Yes,
write it.
the one page.
Yeah, the Hand of Bowl Wilkins.
It's interesting you mentioned Chris Wilkins, and he's been talked about in quite a few interviews recently about the impact he would have had on T20 cricket, one-day cricket in the modern day. Where do you two see, having watched probably 100 years worth of cricket between you, where do you see the game going? We've got so many changes upon us. You've already talked about the change in the T20, the 4-day structure, but also there's the advent of the new competition called the 100, and in years to come people will be watching this video, whether the 100 comes or it doesn't. Where do you two see the game going in the next decade or so?
What I'm concerned about is that the county championship, now we've got getting the changes, there's going to be a 10-team first division and 8-team second division, is that the ECB are looking to have one division, and when they get the teams that they appear to favour, I'm trying to choose my words quite carefully here because I know this is being published, in the first division they will then decide that we don't need a second division, there aren't enough players, the quality is not good enough in the second division, and they'll have 10 first class teams and everybody else will be minor counties.
We might cross our fingers then in that case that Derbyshire, Leicestershire and Northamptonshire are the three sides promoted out of Division 2 into Division 1.
I would absolutely love that to happen this year.
And then the rules might change.
Yes, we might have 3 relegated and 5 promoted the following season.
I do appreciate the ECB need to get the bigger clubs into the top division. That the best players ultimately will, it's bound to happen, it happens in football, it happens in all other sports, American sports, the best players play for the biggest clubs. They have control. I think we need a transfer system to protect the smaller clubs. How many players do you think we've lost to bigger clubs in the last 20 years? I can think of about half a dozen at least that it would be difficult to replace, because obviously they were coming up to the peak of their powers. What do you think on a transfer system?
I think you certainly need some sort of compensation. If you've brought a player through, brought them through your academy, second 11, brought them into the first team, you've invested an awful lot of money in that player, and then after 2 or 3 years in the first 11, their contract comes to an end and they just end up going to one of the bigger clubs that's got more money.
If they want to play Test cricket, then that first club tends to be some remuneration, as it were, recompense, but nevertheless, if they just become a very good county cricketer, let's pick Graham Wagg then, for instance, we lose out on that, and we quite understand Graham Wagg's situation, that he moved to a nice area of the country to live in, and a club was offering him better
more
inducement.
money than we could afford.
Absolutely.
Or wanted to pay.
So yes, as you say, some sort of cover, as it were, for that would be coming very nicely for the smaller clubs.
Well, if you lose the smaller clubs, then somebody like Graham may well have been lost to cricket altogether. After he'd had the ban, it was Derbyshire that gave him a chance to come back into playing cricket, and now his career has gone on. He's even gone on and played games for England sides, not the full England side. He's played in these, was it Hong Kong Sixers?
Yes, he did, didn't he? Yes.
He's played in, and maybe somebody like Lewis Rees that's playing for us now, released by Lancashire. He's now been picked up by Derbyshire, and he's looking like a really good player. Now he's got a second chance without.
It's a short career for them.
Yes.
10 years, and there aren't many coaching jobs. Football might have 92 football league clubs, hence lots of support staff. Cricket, 18 counties, there's not a lot under that at minor counties level. That means full-time employment. Eventually schools, even public schools, I suggest, won't require full-time coaches like they have at the moment. The England names can walk into these jobs. I wonder what you feel on that. Where did the jobs come from?
It's very difficult after you've been in cricket. Presumably you've been earning your living from cricket probably from age of 18, 20, and then you get to mid-30s, you're out of a job.
Yes.
If you haven't got any transferable skills there, I know one of our ex-players has ended up working in an insurance company, telephone sales for a while, and I think he's now working for a drugs company as a travelling salesman.
Mm-hmm. There's plenty of bad stories of ex-cricketers. I hate to say this, ending on this sort of note, but there's cricket the highest suicide rate of any sport, I believe it is.
I think it is, because you've got the camaraderie of being together all the time, and then suddenly you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most positive note to end on, gentlemen, but nonetheless a very interesting 20 minutes. Thank you very much indeed.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.